Hey, hey, greetings everyone. I am here at school with my little soulmate Roxy. Yes, I am. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to celebrate the students writing. Every essay that was written this week by the students will be on this short video, and we're going to just knock your socks off at how far the students have come. You're going to say, do fourth graders write like that? Yeah, they do at Champion School. And so here we are to celebrate because we're right around the corner of the Super Bowl. So the state test in writing, it is March 31st, Tuesday. And we're not getting nervous, no, because we're getting ready. Yes, so here we go with the success the students are feeling. Yahoo! You know, in life, you don't know how far you've come until you mark the journey of where you started. And these were essays the students wrote at the start of the year. They wrote an essay, and this is what they did. So here's one person's essay. Yep, it's one little paragraph. Here's another person's essay. One little paragraph. Here's another person's essay. One little paragraph. Get the drift? This is where we started. Here's another essay, and another essay. And then that's our beginning. I mean, this is pretty cool when you see how far we've come. This is a knock your socks off celebration. So we always, all year long, are learning metacognition. What do you have to think? So you're opening the state test, and what do you have to think? What is the first thing you do? You know what the first thing you do is? And the students are learning this. Look at the question. So over here is the question. And so we're supposed to write a multi-paragraph paragraph about how animals are able to survive in harsh environments. And so we learn to read that question until we can retell that question. And the biggest key word in this whole thing is the word how. That means everything we read is geared toward that question. And that's what governs everything we do. The next step we're learning is, oh my gosh, look at all these sources. So we're going to read all of these sources. Step one, the best friend in writing is to read. We're going to read all those sources, thinking, how do these animals survive in harsh weather? And so we have 3 sources to read from. And so now our next step is to plan our paragraphs. And students know this. This is what they're going to do. We're going to plan our paragraphs. And so we have done that. We've talked a lot about how are we going to group those 5 or 6 paragraphs. What's going to be in them to answer that question? And so then we'll be doing our writing here. And then the next step is to go through and take notes because you planned your paragraphs. And the cool thing on the state test is we can highlight our proof. We don't have to spend a lot of time writing notes. Like here's the Arctic fox. What does it do? Well, it blends in with the snow so it's not noticed. So it can follow polar bears and eat the scraps that are left behind. We know that. We also know, wow, it's got furry feet and small ears to conserve the heat, so it does that. And then it also lives underground with its family, so that helps it survive and keep warm too. Hey, what a quick way to highlight our proof and our evidence. And we continue on to do that. And so these are the steps. We're going to follow our plan, and we're going to use all the essay writing skills we've done all year long. Pretty cool. We are learning what you have to think. So we are getting ready. Well, it wouldn't be complete without doing 4A. Here are the essays from 4A. I couldn't be more proud of you all. And we're going to start with McKinley's. It was a glacial day in the cold, cold Arctic. White, pale Arctic foxes were sneaking behind the towering, snow-covered polar bears to get a scrumptious snack. Wow, look at that sentence. Meanwhile, in the dry, sandy desert, sweaty brown camels were looking for some prickly plants for food. Beautiful writing. And look at her hook questions. You had to survive in harsh conditions. You ever thought how animals adapted to frigid weather? You ever wondered how it would be in harsh weather all the time? Beautiful hook question. You clobbered the main idea, and look at all of her evidence. Oh, McKinley, you've come so far. And look, she has questions in the middle of her essay. Did you know the emperor penguin is the size of a first grader? And she tells about how he survives. Beautiful writing. Now look at her camel part. Did you know the humps on the camel's back store fat, energy? The camel's lips are thick and strong. I mean, just beautiful, beautiful evidence, explaining of her evidence. Bravo, McKinley. Here's Abby's with her splendid writing. It was a piercing day in Antarctica. Small Arctic foxes were following the polar bears to get the scrumptious food they dropped. Meanwhile, in the desert, the camels were walking. Like it wasn't even hot. Oh, how beautiful. Yep, and her hook questions are fabulous. Abby, phenomenal writing. Look at you, amazing. And look at how far we've come from writing just a paragraph. Yep. Here's Aaliyah. Oh, she has just risen. And this is all about breaking through that glass ceiling. Yeah, and going through the clouds and past the stars, to soar to the top. Aaliyah. Meanwhile, it was in Antarctica, Arctic foxes follow a polar bear to hunt for food and save it for summer. Meanwhile, in the scorching hot summer sunny day, camels were carrying people in the deadly hot heat. In the ocean, when the sea laughs gently against the cave rock, that is just absolutely beautiful. Aaliyah, look at what you're doing, and look at all of her evidence. Amazing. Think of the focus it takes to do all that writing, mixed in with all that reading. I mean, wow, these are skills of a lifetime. To have the focus to do all that. Wow, Aaliyah. She used to write just a little bit. Look at her. Here's Emilio, just a solid writer. Down in the gelid, I love that word, in the gelid snow of Antarctica, where the temperatures were frigid, there were emperor penguins, big as a first grader. Meanwhile, in the torrid, listen to you, Emilio, hot desert, there was a drenched dromedary camel. And on the other side of the world was the enormous Greenland shark, swimming gradually to save energy. Just profound writing. Emilio, look at you. Wow. And his good hook questions and his solid evidence. Oh my gosh, Emilio, just amazing. And here's Xavier, always knocks our socks off with his background hook. The shivering Arctic fox was sprinting, look at those words, through the magical sparkling snow. Meanwhile, the hairy and blazing camel wandered through the scorching desert and drank gallons of, listen to this adjective, replenishing water. I tell you, classy words just flow out of Xavier. On the other hand, I love that transition word. The rather weird, beautiful Greenland shark was lurking deep in the freezing water as it saves energy hour after hour. You just captured it all in that background hook, and it makes us want to read your essay, like totally. And then look at your hook questions. Have you ever thought about how animals adapt to environment that's hard to adapt to? Yeah, no kidding. Have you ever had to use survival skills to adapt to the environment? Just beautiful main idea hook questions. And then on and on he goes. If you were in frigid weather, what would you do to survive? What a hook question. It's beautiful. We found out last week we were doing too many however, or have you ever, and so we're looking at what are other ways to do a hook question. And you're nailing it with those, Xavier. Beautiful question. How do camels survive in shriveling hot environment? Well, they have thick eyebrows to keep them against the sand, as well as drinking gallons of water so it doesn't get thirsty for days. Did you know they don't actually have water in the humps? Instead, They have fat that keeps them full of energy. Oh, beautiful writing. Xavier, splendid. And here's Darnell with his continual fabulous writing. Look at that. Look at that good background hook. And meanwhile in there were big brown camels with humps on their back, and they were eating green, spiky cactuses. Meanwhile, in the icy, freezing place, there were Arctic foxes zooming to get food every second behind the huge, ferocious bears. What a good sentence, Darnell. Look at that. And all of this is his writing. Question hooks packed with evidence. Bravo, bravo, Darnell. Amazing, you guys. And here's Jax. Other animals were practically burning their skin in the sun and burning up from the super hot sandstorms nearby in the very hot desert. Would you be interested in animals' abilities to survive in harsh areas? And then he tells about the wood frog. Look at that. The wood frog is a frog that has a very unique ability to survive freezing cold by freezing. By freezing? It uses a special sugar called glucose, the solid packed evidence. How would the dromedary camel store fat in their humps to store energy? Beautiful writing. And that has a conclusion. The conclusion is that most animals have some special adaptation/abilities, style of surviving. Bravo, Jack. And King, oh my gosh, you've come so far. In the beautiful, majestic, snowy habitat, the magical fox is hidden in the shiny, perfect white snow. Meanwhile, in the scorching Sahara Desert, the shiny sand, the dreadful heat would burn you alive. Beautiful. And look at all of King's evidence. Oh my gosh. The journey of writing this year is so exciting. He's got his conclusion at the end. Wow, King. And Rodrigo, solid writing all the time through hard work all year long. The camels were walking slowly with, look at this, with the venomous, mischievous snakes and scorpions that were making the people get a shiver up their spines. Look at that writing, Rodrigo. Meanwhile, the gooey Titanus Greenland shark was swimming gradually through the deep, echoing sea. Do you hear that? Splendid, Rodrigo. Wow. And all of his evidence, beautiful. Josiah had a unique style in his. He was mixing the paragraphs in with hook questions throughout and spilling in the background. It was a freezing, snowy, cold day. Arctic foxes were traveling together with their white winter fur, picking up scraps from behind a polar bear and hunting for food themselves. They were silent as the night. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. Sneaking around the snow. As cunning as the sun. Oh my gosh, Josiah. It was a piercing snowy day. The Arctic penguins were waddling around in the snow, swimming in the water and catching fish. Splendid. This is all Josiah's. Uses the classiest words. In the drying, hot, scorching desert, you could see a pack of camels wandering on the dry desert floor. You may wonder how they survive. And if you do, it's simple. Camels have, look at that writing, camels have long lashes that block sand, hooves that protect them from the sand, and a hump that stores water and fat so they can travel for days. If you ever wanted to live in the desert, ever seen a camel? Wow. And then he does the kangaroo rat with classy words. It was a dramatically scorching hot day. Kangaroo rats were all around, frantically searching for food and scampering back to their dark burrows since they had enough food. You might wonder how the kangaroo rats survived. Look at that conversation with the reader. Well, it all starts out with their adaptations. Beautiful writing. Josiah. Wow. In the dramatic, disgusting, green, murky waters, there was a shark. Not a normal shark, a Greenland shark, gracefully but slowly swimming in the green murky waters. You might wonder how they survive. Well, they swim slowly to save stamina, and their body mass warms them up so they don't die of being cold. Glorious writing, Josiah. And he just continues on and on. It was a flaming hot day. On the surface, over a barrel, was a wildfire burning down everything, while there was an enchida sleeping and eating in a burrow. You might wonder how they survive. Well, they sleep and eat in burrows until the wildfire's done, and they have a lower body temperature and metabolism, so that helps them survive. Bravo, Josiah. And here's Arions. Look at him. Oh my gosh. It was a pinching bright day as the camel walked in the steaming hot sand with a hump on its back, and its long eyelashes keep sand out of its eyes. Somewhere far away, ooh, I love that transition, was from an Arctic fox, their fur, beautiful writing. And look at all that Arion was doing. Look at his long, fact-packed essay. Hey, look at this. Hey, psst, over here. Would you like to hear about cold weather animals live in extreme conditions? Well, here's one of them, the Arctic fox. Do you hear that transition? Absolutely glorious, Arion. Look at you. Amazing. And then he says, now here's a hot one for you. A camel has a hump. It's back that stores energy to make it move better. Oh my gosh, Arion. Just brilliant writing. Good for you. And Viviana knocked my socks off too. Magnificent cold day. Snow was everywhere, and on she goes, packed with writing, and she writes more all the time. Viviana, what a focused, good journey you have had. This week I hugged her saying, is this you? Yep, it's you, Viviana. Beautiful. How do kangaroo rats survive in the environment? Well, she tells how they do. Way to go, Viviana. And here's Javen T. Oh my gosh, you've come so far. It was a snowy day in Iceland. The furry, sneaking beautiful writing. Look at all of that evidence. Javen T. Amazing. Here's Javen White. It was a freezing day in Antarctica. And all of his evidence. Bravo. Oh my gosh. Mateo, this week I asked, is that you? He used to write nothing. And look at him. Look at his essay. It was ice grazing day. Every time you step in the snow, a satisfying crunch will droom into your ears. The majestic tropical animals were roaming the land of the ancient glaciers. Wow. Mateo, you knocked my socks off. This is all still his. Way to go. And here's Anthony. So it was a gloomy morning. Arctic foxes were behind the white polar bear because its white coat blends in with the ice and snow. Then they get the food and go home and eat. And there's questions and more evidence. Every day he writes more. And Obi, too, is just coming along. It was a shiny day and the sun was excited. Look at that. Personification. And the wind was exhausted. Wow. The water was going up and down. It was beautiful. And on she goes, writing more all the time, gaining focus every day. Way to go, Anobi. Yahoo. Here's Kennedy. Kennedy can do some really exciting writing. It was a blizzarding day in the Antarctic cold. The Arctic foxes were running in the white glistening snow, hiding from hungry polar bears. Meanwhile, the scorching desert, the camels were chilling. Yes, they do that in the desert heat. You captured it, how the camels can survive in the desert. And there goes her writing. Every day she writes more. And Bailey, too, every day she writes more. Look at her words. It was a frosty, majestic, snowy day in Antarctica. Fluffy Arctic foxes were lurking. Look at that word. For prey and following polar bear paw prints in the glittery snow to get some scrumptious food that they dropped. That is just gorgeous, Bailey. While camels were in the scorching hot sun, it's not even hot. and people on the hot sand were looking for one drop of rain. Yes, don't we do that in the desert? And then see, look, Bailey's doing more every day. And here's Jackson's, and there's Zoe's, and Jillian's, and McKenna's. We all start from where we're at, and we just grow. And 4A, I am so proud of you. Beautiful job, beautiful work, amazing, amazing, amazing. 4A. So those who wrote a lot in the essay, it shows much more than writing. It shows they're getting ready for life. You know, and I took a quick trip back to our conference slideshow. One of the slides was, do you care? Yeah, do you care? The biggest word now in 4th grade is, do you care? And what happens when you care? Well, you work, you listen, you behave. Yeah, you behave. And so when you care, that's everything. That is a skill of the lifetime. So if you have a good essay, that shows you care. And then it also shows you focus. You want to get ready for life? You focus. Yeah, you actually pay attention. You actually get it done. 6 of these 4th graders went to a field trip to celebrate their good behavior. And so they even got the whole essay done, missing a day at school. That means they have mastered focus for a lifetime, a skill of a lifetime. It also makes us know who makes them work. Yeah, they make themselves work. I don't have to wear myself out telling them to work or have sleepless nights wondering how the heck I'm going to get some of you to work and to behave. No, they do it on their own. They make themselves work. They're on the dream team. Yeah, that they're ready for life. That's what they are. And that means they listen. That means every time we put students' work on the big screen in front of the room, that means they listen. They learn from the other 4th graders. Yep, they care, they focus, they listen. And they don't get swallowed up in the cesspool of drama. Nope. Minding other people's business instead of their own. Yep, they don't get messed up in that. Nope, because they've risen to acquire the skills of a lifetime. It means they're ready for the day. That means they're not over by the computer getting another QR code because they don't have enough ability to be ready for the day. They come with a pencil, they're ready to go. It means they're ready for life. That's what it means. These writing essays show if you're ready for life. You know, did you learn the biggest things we were learning in 4th grade? It's to be ready for life. In no time, your body's going to be big and you're grown up. And are you ready for life? Or are you whizzing away 4th grade? Is that what you're doing? So Yahoo to all the 4th graders who this year have not only risen up to do incredible essays, but yeah, you're ready for life. And if you're not ready, I don't know what your plan is, but you might want to start one.